This is IQD and VND, and today we are bringing you one of the most important updates yet for August 2025. Something remarkable is happening quietly in the background of the global financial system. And it has to do with currencies many of you have followed for years. The Iraqi Dinar, the Vietnamese Dong, and Zimbabwean bonds are all part of this story, and what's happening now feels different from anything we've seen before. Instead of speculation filling the space, we're noticing real signs that a structured process may be forming. Stay with us, because every detail we share today matters for understanding what's taking place. For more than a decade, communities that hold these currencies have watched closely for every signal, from changes in banking behavior to government reforms. Often it has felt like long stretches of silence broken up by bursts of hopeful speculation. But this time, in August 2025, the atmosphere is noticeably shifting. Instead of rumors spreading loudly across forums and groups, subtle but meaningful indicators are appearing in the background. Banks are asking targeted questions, certain administrative steps are being noticed, and quiet conversations are being reported in places where previously there had been nothing. It feels organized, not random, and that's why the current developments stand out. Banks and financial institutions are often the first place where real movement can be seen. Right now, there is no official declaration of a public redemption system, but banks in multiple regions appear to be making preparations. People are reporting requests for account verifications, document updates, and clarifications on specific holdings connected to these currencies. Those who have experienced these interactions describe them as purposeful and directed, not casual or routine. This kind of preparation is typically what happens before larger processes are introduced. And while nothing has been officially activated yet, the groundwork seems to be taking shape. The timing of these developments is also significant when we look at the wider global economy. Around the world, governments and central banks are adjusting policies, raising or lowering interest rates, and making reforms that change how financial systems function. All of this creates an environment where changes to currency management become more possible. Against this backdrop, the Iraqi Dinar, the Vietnamese Dong, and Zimbabwean bonds are drawing renewed attention. Observers are noticing that these instruments are being reviewed more carefully at precisely the same moment. When the global financial stage is shifting. When we talk about redemption, it's important to clarify what this means. Redemption is not just about minor exchange rate changes in day-to-day trading. It refers to an organized system where holders of these instruments can exchange them at adjusted values, typically through an official and structured process. Reports suggest that some early activity may already be happening for limited groups, possibly as a way to test and prepare the system before anything broader is rolled out. This phased approach would make sense, as it reduces risk and ensures stability as the process expands over time. Vietnam plays an especially interesting role in this story. For years, much of the attention has been on Iraq, while the Vietnamese Dong was often discussed but not always in the spotlight. That is beginning to change. Vietnam has been carrying out steady economic reforms, modernizing its banking systems, and strengthening its regulatory framework. This kind of progress gives observers more confidence that adjustments to the Dong are possible within an organized structure. Holders are quietly taking notice, with many reviewing their records and reconnecting with advisors to make sure they're ready if new opportunities emerge. Zimbabwe, of course, has always been a more complex part of this conversation. Its instruments, particularly historical bonds, have been seen as the most uncertain of the three. Yet, in recent months, small but significant signs of movement have appeared. International restrictions have eased in certain areas, and reports suggest that the way accounts tied to Zimbabwean bonds are being handled is changing. These adjustments may not seem dramatic at first glance, but in the larger context, they could point toward preparation for broader adjustments. While the Zimbabwean story often gets less attention, it could quietly deliver surprises if these signs continue. One of the most important aspects of what's happening right now is the pace. This is not unfolding with loud declarations or sudden headlines. Instead, the approach appears measured and staged. Certain groups may be engaged first, with others following in phases, so the process can stay orderly and secure. A carefully managed rollout helps prevent disruptions for financial institutions and participants. For holders, it means patience is necessary. But it also underscores the importance of being prepared when the moment arrives for a particular group. Those who are ready with documents in order will be positioned to move smoothly. Conversations between holders and banking professionals are adding to the sense that something is underway. People are reporting very direct inquiries about their holdings. These are not the usual casual conversations about markets, but detailed questions that suggest banks are actively assessing clients who may be involved. Not everyone has been contacted yet, which strengthens the belief that outreach is happening in steps. If a full system is indeed being prepared, it would make sense that institutions would work gradually, reaching out to clients in waves rather than all at once. Legal and regulatory developments in Iraq, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe also connect directly to this story. Over the past few years, governments have been steadily tightening laws, closing loopholes, and raising standards against corruption. These reforms build the trust needed for international transactions and create a foundation that could support a redemption framework. While much of this work is not visible to the average person, it is crucial. Without strong legal systems, no large-scale financial process can unfold smoothly. These reforms, therefore, are not background details, they are central to what may be coming next. Iraq's progress in particular deserves attention. The country has been working to stabilize its economy by improving digital infrastructure, modernizing financial institutions, and managing its oil revenues more effectively. Steps to curb corruption and strengthen transparency have attracted global attention. For holders of the dinar, these reforms may signal more than just potential currency changes, they represent a broader strengthening of Iraq's economic foundation. The more successful Iraq is in modernizing its systems, the more confidence grows in its ability to reintegrate its currency into the global financial environment. At the same time, this is a moment where caution and balance remain essential. In the past, whenever talk of currency revaluation or redemption surfaced, misinformation often spread quickly, creating confusion and disappointment. That is why many experienced voices are reminding holders to focus only on clear and verifiable developments. Watching policy changes, banking actions, and official communications matters far more than chasing unconfirmed rumors. Staying grounded helps protect people from unnecessary stress and poor decisions during what could be an important transition. For many, this is also a valuable time to think about the future beyond the process itself. While the anticipation is focused on redemption, what happens after is just as important. People are beginning to think through how they might handle new opportunities, whether that means family priorities, personal goals, or long-term planning. Being prepared in advance allows smoother decisions later. It's not only about waiting for change, but also being ready to adapt when it comes. Across the globe, holders of dinar, dong, and Zimbabwean instruments are staying connected and sharing updates with one another. Communities have grown over the years in the United States, Europe, Asia, and elsewhere, built on patience and resilience. Now, with August 2025 showing signs of real alignment, that global network is feeling a stronger sense of anticipation. What unites these communities is not only their interest in the currencies, but also the shared experience of waiting through years of uncertainty for meaningful signs of progress. What makes the current moment stand out is the number of factors coming together at once. Banking behaviors, government reforms, regulatory tightening, and global economic shifts are all happening at the same time. These are not isolated signals, they are interconnected. For many observers, this convergence is the clearest sign that August 2025 is different from earlier periods of speculation. Instead of just words, there are actions taking place in multiple areas that all point in the same direction. Ultimately, this remains a story of patience and preparation. The steps being taken are quiet, deliberate, and coordinated, suggesting that no one wants disruption or instability. For holders, the best approach is to remain watchful, organized, and ready for when opportunities arise. The quiet developments now may eventually be seen as the beginning of a turning point. Whether this period marks the long-anticipated redemption process or the start of a broader transition, the signals are unmistakable. Something important is moving forward. Time will show exactly how this unfolds, but for now, staying calm and observant is the key.